That's a nice. That's a really really nice piece of music, and it doesn't have any, copyrights or anything like that. So I've really appreciated like the whole week. We have tried to do as in me, and whoever comes up, whoever pulls up is whoever is here. But I wanted to talk to you guys because this is it's kind of like a sacred moment because this is exciting for me, just as a friend of some people. Because when you see dudes like they're coming up on YouTube, it's like they want to have their turn at, doing something that's like, has value, and they want to be able to do stuff that's cool on video and have good talks. I mean, everybody wants to have good, like, material. But it gets to a point where if the material that's being presented over and over again, it kind of fizzles out. Kind of like you lose. I felt myself as a creative person, just feeding into sort of a negative mindset. And this is where I got the breakthrough. I'm going to show you guys something that's so amazing to me that it almost is absurd. We haven't had these for years. Every single person that drives a car potentially puts himself in danger. And what I've discovered is that dangerous drivers, typically don't have, headlights or something like that. You see, in Latin America, if you have a headlight out, you might have a headlight out for a year and no one will say a word to you. And so having a light bar, it gives you so much light on these dirt roads that have, you might be driving, 4 or 5 miles on the highway and there may not be any, visible light nor artificial light. And the light bar, when you flip that thing on, I'm talking you could light up a cruise ship with this thing. So I have two of them. And my intentions for having them is in the event, like if we like get into fog or anything like that, because one of the places that we go, one of our camps, is in a place called Zacatlan. And Second Land has nothing but fog all the way in. Excuse me. And I've enjoyed going to Second Land on a regular basis for literally years. And every time I go, it always has fog every day. So I got these fog lights, and that's what they are, fog bars, basically. And or you, I, we would probably if we had these back in the day. We had Jeeps back in the day that had the big, the KC lights or whatever, and those were like, poachers lights. But anyway, so I want to show you. First, I want to tell you what these are. These are, LEDs, and it's a light bar. It's a shorter light bar, but it's a curved, shorter light bar. And I bought it this way specifically because the last light bar I bought got stolen off the Omega truck. That's the Omega. That's the antique fire truck we had. And that was the first thing that pretty much set me off as far as being, you know, finding ways and means to protect the whole neighborhood from, people that were stealing, like people's, ladders. Then they stole my neighbor's van. Then they stole my neighbor's motorcycle. Then they stole the neighbor's tattoo guns. So they're going after these are local people going after their neighbor's possessions. And that is where I'm like, yo. So I put out all kinds of like tips to people to secure their houses, secure the streets, blah, blah, blah. And one of those things is getting light bars. And the inside of the parts of the shadow ways of their houses, they have these huge like gardens that are all closed in. But if you don't have any lights, I'm telling people that you can put these on a light switch, that a remote from inside your house. And if you have some kind of security problem, you hit that button and it'll light up a cruise ship, like I said, and that will scare away any potential thieves. So these are great for having on your RV when you're camping, because if you have outside cameras, which I'm about to show you, you guys are in for a treat, because 360 cameras, light bars, and motion detectors are just basic motion detectors that are photocells. So let me show you the first one, because this one is going to be on the front of the van. I did a little picture, you know what I'm saying? So this one I've already assembled because I'm going to disassemble it in order to install it. If you can see here, this came off of Mercado Libre. Now I wanted to measure this so you and I could see the exact length, 'cause I think this is about 24 inches. I'm not sure. I'm eyeballing it. I thought we had a measuring tape out here, but I guess we don't. But that right there, this thing will light you up. Now look at this for a second. This has feet that have this little ass screw. Now, when the thieves came and stole the light bar off of the Omega, I knew that this thing needed some kind of reinforcement. And to me, this seems like, some Mickey Mouse legging. So I know that this is not the most expensive, but it's not the cheapest. But I'm going to tell you something. You got to if you don't want somebody stealing these, you need to have better nuts like this. I'm saying go something like lock washers. Get a bolt like thing right here. Okay, you want to get whole fucking flat washers. You want to put flat washers on the bolt like that. You want to get a bolt like that. Now you want to use thread locker. That looks like fingernail polish because it's thread locker. That's what this is used to paint on the threads on your bolt so that it can't be backed out. It's like super glue. But the thing about it is, I'm going to show you why that all of this might not even be necessary, because this light is going to go on the inside of the face. This is going to go on the inside of the grill of the chicken butts. And I'm going to find a way to weld this, put the lights in position and find a way. I mean, not weld it. I'm definitely going to use thread locker to put these things on, because then they can't be stolen. This will be nothing more than a bezel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this apart and I'm going to take the face off, which may not have to. This thing is so perfect. I'm going to put this on and install this and put it on one switch. But I need to put two more switches on for not necessarily a main, electrical line, but this is an awesome light bar. This costs, I think it was $35. And that is something that, like I said, I got white ones because I wanted it to match the bus. And you see the bus, if I put it up here up top, which like I said, I'm going to end up either cutting the hole up top inside the roof and have just a one light there and then have this big ass motherfucker inside of the grill. Then I have two switches because I don't want one switch for two lights. I want to put one little bitty switch like this right next door to this big fat brother switch like that. So now we're like best friends, like we were in high school. I want to tell you guys something. I had a friend and his name was Sherman. Okay, Sherman and I went to school together. Sherman and I were like best friends. We were in the fifth grade, I think, the sixth grade, maybe the seventh grade together, and he had a flat top. This is back in the 80s. And we were smart kids. This is where I know that we were poisoned as adult. I know we were poisoned as kids at school because, Sherman and we were tight. And he literally had the 1985 flat top. Okay, so that's the bolt that I wanted to use for this light bar so they can't be backed out. And then you're going to use thread locker so that people can't steal what they can't. It's a pain in the ass because if they have even, a crescent wrench or a pair of channel locks or whatever, they can back those stupid screws that come with this. These Mickey Mouse screws. Look at this, you guys. Look at the Mickey Mouse screws they gave me right here. And this Allen wrench, I know you've seen these, okay? This is not something that any record or anybody could steal this in under a minute. And that is why they stole the other one that was off the other. So I put these on here just to show you guys what pieces of shit these are, because you need to put something, a spot weld on the bolts that are holding this motherfucker on, because they will pull it the fuck off and they'll destroy your roof in the process and all that stuff. But here's the cool part. This is the other half. Now, I haven't put the legs on this, but I'm going to unbox this so you can see. It's so cool. Check this little motherfucker out. So there's the little one. Dude, that is so cool, you guys. Look at that. Now, this one that goes in the roof. All right, I don't know where the thing is, but we have a housing for this. Hold on, let me put this here. I'll put this here for a second, please. You don't mind, do you guys? I hope you don't mind. Just hold on one second. I'm going to use this third one. See this? This is the third switch. I like that switch. It has a little red light on the end. It has a little LED inside the switch tip. And now listen to this click. Is that not the most? Just look at that. I'm going analog, and I know, listen, it sounds like, hey, look, I sound like a madman. I'm aware of that. Listen to just the click on these. It's so robust. Now you ask, okay, so I have these three switches. One of the switches, see, I have to have a switch that's for each one, because the dashboard on this thing is just nothing but knobs and analog switches. So nothing that in my mind cannot be manipulated from in any way, because nothing that is connected to this van is connected to the internet. Nothing. It's all analog. So it doesn't exist. It's not real. None of this shit's real. Love this camera. So look closely because this is the coolest. Now this is amazing because this is something you can use for night vision. This is your night vision. Someone once asked, when somebody was asking, why are these fucking tents and all this camping stuff for van going shit, so fucking expensive? And the reason is because like every single component of all this camping stuff or whatever that you attach to a van has got to be, 12 volts. You need some kind of a transformer if it's not. You need to have really high quality stuff so it doesn't burn your shit to the ground. So hold on 1 second because I need to get something else to show you because this is a great one. They gave me 4 Allen wrenches. They gave me 4 Allen wrenches for this silly ass thing. Okay, so the front side, look, I have this mesh. I really like this mesh. It's not very big. It's about 5 centimeters, not 5 centimeters, 5 millimeters. And it just so happens that this is already cut and it's already bigger than the front side. This will give some kind of protection against maybe branches or something like that. This will give okay, something to block because it's not going to block the light. That's for sure. And I'm going to use this and probably maybe paint this to match the grill. So it doesn't look very, doesn't look like something that's very interesting to take. It looks like a little bit of, homemade because, as you look at this project more and more, you'll see that it's very, very steampunk. It's very Frankenstein. So it doesn't really matter because I'm getting, switches that are like this that are so robust. I mean, listen to that flicky buttons there. So what was I supposed to go get? I'm brain dead right now, guys. What is that about? We did a pretty cool project today during the class. We had the kids learn about ferrule connections, and that's copper tubing that connects on. Listen to this. Listen to that switch. Isn't that amazing? I really appreciate a good switch. What about this one? Okay, these are the ones that are going to be the smaller switches for the smaller lights. And then I got this one. Listen to that. Flicky. Very, very flicky. Listen, look at this is a, now they asked, somebody said, well, why an old school, security camera? And the reason is because if you have to turn your lights off at night, or if you're driving on the highway where there are not going to be any highway lights at all, this type of old school, see that? Okay, this can see in the dark. So on your monitor, you're going to have a black and white of anything that's around you. If you have a thermogenic sensor, this has to be run exteriorly. So I don't know anything about that. So get yourself an old video camera like that and then hook that motherfucker up to like maybe a reverse monitor or something cheap so that you can just fucking drive in the dark. That'll help you. It'd be hard to learn it first. I've never done it. But I'm about to, because listen, we live out in the fucking middle of nowhere and we have a ranch out in the middle of nowhere. And sometimes we go out to the furthest part of the ranch because there's a lot of fun stuff to do out in the desert. Like, do fun stuff. There's fun stuff to do in the mountains and everything. And if that's your thing, then great. So you need lights, you need water, you need a plan B, all this good stuff. So that's why we want to always have more than enough lights and more than enough battery, but at the same time be able to see in the dark if necessary. Because I don't want to have a problem and get stuck out in the middle of friggin' BFE, in the desert, like something out of Breaking Bad. I don't want nothing that's scary to me. I mean, Okay, if I knew the way through the desert and I knew like, trails and stuff, and I was driving like a fucking 4x4 that's, just tuned and I know the way and I'm a driver like that, I would fucking love to go through the desert. The problem is that I like old cars, and old cars, when they get nice new parts and nice new engines and nice new rims and suspension, they're a hell of a lot easier to have fun with than stuff that's old and fucking, rickety and vibrating and falling apart. That's 500 years old. So that's why I do with stuff is because a lot of this stuff is recycled. In fact, the majority of all the materials that we get are donated to us. See, something like this would cost $5, and this would come out of the flea market, which every little town has a flea market. Then we would find a way to have other lights that don't require electricity to illuminate some of the things that we think would be, helpful in preventative and things like that. So what we found was this little a USB that has switches on it. Each one of those is a little switchy. And this has let me get, okay, so I didn't even think about that. Okay, so this has a LED light that can be plugged into a USB charger because look, see that? This thing is like a 60-watt bulb. No joke. This thing lights up like a 60-watt bulb. And if I had a little, a cell phone charger, I would just, or one of those batteries, that would be cool because then you could plug this pigtail on the back, USB pigtail, from the switch lot, which I'm going to install this up in the ceiling right next to my seat. So when I'm driving, and if I want a very simple light to come on, I can do that. So what else comes in one of these? Okay, this is actually a very good quality. It looks to me, it's probably aluminum, most likely. These are aluminum legs. They have that again. The legs are pretty, pretty sturdy. And of course, the vibrational hardware, so it doesn't vibrate. Kingdom Come. So this one here is about, well, let's take a look. Must be about, this looks to be about 18 inches in length, same size as the other one. Like the transformers inside, all that shit. This is a 12 volt. I couldn't tell you more about it because it's been over a year since I got these. And they've been sitting in the closet all this time. Thank you so much for whoever told me about this stuff because I never knew this stuff existed. And I've got stuff that's been stolen off of almost every one of our project trucks because we didn't have any of that. Fuck, Scheiße, Wirkungskleber. Ich habe keine Ahnung. Okay, this is Wirkungskleber. Kleber, it's glue. Basically, it's like glue. It's called thread locker. And you open it, and you see it's like a little thing like that. And you drop a couple drops on the threads, and you let that dry. And depending on the color of the bottle, is the thickness and how strong the glue is. So when you put this shit on, it's never coming off. Or very hard to come off. You gotta use a torch sometimes. But that is my favorite thing there is the switches. The reason why I love switches so much is because in old days is that you really had control over what you had, inside of your vehicle. And if you had some kind of like a loop circuit and you had a bunch of things hooked up to a bunch of, fuses, you would always have accessories in your car that would work, lights, radios, especially lights. If you do not have lights, it can be a terrifying situation. So you're going to get lights like this that you can plug right into a USB battery, a backup battery. You want to get a good one. Do not buy cheap copies. Spend the money and get some good ones. One of these right here, this is an old flea market, basically security camera. If you've never seen these, you probably go to a flea market or something, get like these for about, maybe $5. I know I paid $5 for this. This is about 100 pesos. And this has infrared. It has the ability to do some kind of I want to say it's some kind of radioactive imaging of some kind that it just sees in the dark, and you don't even, like, the daytime's normal, color. Nighttime it's like black and white, but it has this incredible, just like incredible hue to it, like you're looking at the images of people with auras around them. You see what I'm saying? It might be the lens is all fucked up, whatever, but that's cool, right? You got this, and you can put your TV that's in your vehicle, and that's all you need to do with those. So now I have two bars. This one's going to go into the grill, and this one's going to go probably into the roof, like I said over here. I need to find a yellow lens, so I could probably slap it over the top of that top one. And I might go as far as to just go get some and cut some very nice thermographic or thermo, like, rainbow color, because this has a really smooth lens to it, and this one is, I mean, this is not perfect. This is just plain, but I wanted this to be white so it'll match the roof. And I'm going to put something over the lens so that it looks more like a probably one of those radars or sensors or something like that go on helicopters that have that, rainbow reflective tape. But at night, when you flip that bitch on, it's like a boom. So really, no one is going to mess with unless they want to try and steal the damn camera. Either way, it's a camera that is going to be, pointing, front all the time. It might be inside the vehicle. I might put a 360 camera on the roof, like Google's got, but less expensive, because those are easy to do with old cell phones. And I'll put all this stuff on the roof. We have all these battery operated things, but we need some batteries. We need to get some solar panels set up. And you're trying to figure out why, why I'm being toyed with right now. So just trying to get some shit in order, because it's time to load up and go. And it's time to put this van together. So I appreciate your help. I'm the professor, and I'm out.